Hello guys, welcome back to GPU Tester. Today we're going to be comparing the RX 6800 XT against the RX 6600. You can see the specifications of the card on screen right now, and you will also be able to see the test bench I'll be using to benchmark these cards. First game we have on the list is The Last of Us Part 1. We're going to be playing at 1440p at the ultra settings. At 1440p we get an average FPS of 71 on the 6800 XT, 23 on the 6600. That is probably because of the fact that it has 8 GB of VRAM, which is not enough for this game. As you can see, the 6800 XT is using that is 70% more than the 6600. Overall, the game is definitely not playable on the 6600. However, you can have a really good experience if you're going to be playing it with the 6800 XT. Next game we have on the list is Starfield. We're going to be playing at the ultra settings, and we've turned off the upscaling that the game auto applies. In terms of FPS, the 6800 XT gets an average of 69 and the 6600 XT gets an average of 29, which again in my opinion is not playable. Above 30 would be playable, so I suggest you start using some upscaling, which actually looks really good in this game, FSR and DLSS both. So with upscaling you should probably able to get 30 FPS plus on the 6600. Overall, in my opinion, the 6600 cannot handle this game at these settings. However, the 6800 XT does a really good job. Next game on the list is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We're going to be playing at 1440p at the high settings preset. In terms of FPS, we get an average FPS of 76 on the 6800 XT and 33 on the 6600. I know that the 6600 is not a card suited for 1440p, but this video is for people who are aiming to upgrade their GPU to 6800 XT and they want to know the difference between their current 6600 and the new 6800 XT they'll be getting. So back to the numbers, the 1% lows we get are 63 on the 6800 XT and 28 on the 6600, which aren't actually bad. So if you can lock your FPS to 30 and play the game that way, you might be able to enjoy the experience, but overall it's not a very good experience at least. Next game on the list is A Plague Tale Requiem. We're going to be playing at 1440p using the ultra settings preset. In terms of averages, the 6800 XT gets an average FPS of 76, with the 6600 getting a decent 35 FPS average. The VRAM is also under control, and for the first time I can say it is a decent experience considering how slow paced this game is. Star Wars was a little fast paced compared to this game, so I wouldn't say it was a great experience, but this game is pretty slow paced and it is quite a cinematic game more than an action game, so you should be fine playing at these frame rates. The 6800 XT does really well though, and you will get an absolutely smooth and quick experience with the 6800 XT.
You're sure you remember where this florist is?
Moving on, next game we have is Forza Horizon 5. We're going to be playing at 1440p in the ultra settings preset. In terms of FPS, we get an average of 181 on the 6800 XT, 1% lows coming at 95. On the 6600 we get an average of 89 with 1% lows coming in at 69. And for the first time the 6600 actually does a really good job at 1440p and it gets you a 60 plus FPS experience. However, you have to keep in mind though that the 6600 is most of the time a sub 100 watt card. The 6800 XT, however, is a really power hungry card and it draws more than 250 watts under load, which is not very efficient. Next game on the list is Need for Speed Heat. We're going to be playing at 1440p at the Ultra settings preset. In terms of FPS, we get an average FPS of 136 on the 6800 XT and 69 on the 6600. That is another case where the 6600 actually does a decent job and gets 60 plus FPS. The 1% lows are also actually pretty good at 57 on the 6600 and 96 on the 6800 XT. If anything, the 6600 is actually more impressive.
Got it to my side, heading north to the city. Get it up, you're done! They're coming up right alongside.
Next game on the list is Spider-Man. We're going to be playing at 1440p at the very high settings preset. In terms of averages, the 6600 actually surprises me again by getting an average FPS of 65. The 6800 XT is also very good at an average of 116. The 1% lows are also pretty good on both these cards. It is 68 on the 6800 XT and 48 on the 6600. Overall, the game runs really good on both these cards, and you should have a lot of fun if you're playing this game at these settings on these cards.
Come on, fight it off!
All units, prisoners are opening fire from stolen vehicles.
Next game on the list is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. We're going to be playing at 1440p using the ultra quality settings. In terms of FPS, we get an average of 109 on the 6800 XT and 60 on the 6600. The 6600 actually seems to be redeeming itself with the recent benchmarks, as it started out pretty bad, but now it's actually doing pretty good. The 1% lows are 95 on the 6800 XT and 50 on the 6600. The overall experience is pretty decent on the 6600 and really good on the 6800 XT.
Okay, I'm okay.
In The Witcher 3, we're going to be playing at 1440p at the ultra settings. And here the 6600 is back where it started, with it managing an average FPS of 30 with 1% lows coming in at 26. The 6800 XT on the other hand does a really good job, getting an average FPS of 75 and 1% lows come in at 63. Overall, I would suggest lowering the settings a little on the 6600 and getting that always 30 plus experience. But again, that is personal preference. Next game on the list is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We're gonna be playing at 1440p at the highest settings. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is actually really well optimized, and the 6600 manages an average FPS of 65 with the 6800 XT getting an average FPS of 144. That is a high refresh rate experience. That said, both these cards provide really good performance, and the 1% lows are also really good, at 58 on the 6600 and 102 on the 6800 XT. Next game on the list is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We're going to be playing at 1440p using the ultra settings. In terms of averages, we get 120 on the 6800 XT, with 1% lows coming in at 92, and 51 on the 6600, with 1% lows coming in at 28. Although the 1% lows are pretty bad on the 6600, the overall performance actually surprised me positively, as I was not expecting it to be able to get FPS in the 50s. That said, you should definitely be able to enjoy this game if you want to on the 6600. Moving on to the next title, which is Doom. We're going to be playing at 1440p at the Ultra Nightmare preset. And Doom runs flawlessly like every other time. We're getting an average of 332 on the 6800 XT and 136 on the 6600. Keep in mind the 6600 is a budget card, and it still manages to get an FPS this high. That is not because the card is that powerful, however, it is because the game is extremely easy to run. That will bring an end to our benchmark. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do let me know in the comments down below what you thought of it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you.